Hey everybody, today we're here with Caiden Segura from Spade. Welcome, Caiden.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
It's great to have you here. I hear that you have some killer tips for salespeople, especially when it comes to sending emails to buyers and distributors. So I want to get into that with you. But first, can you tell us a little bit about Spade and what you do?
So I'm our VP of Sales and Partner here at Spade. We're a zero calorie, zero sugar, all natural premium healthy soda. Some electrolytes in there for a small functional benefit, but most importantly, we're all about keeping it simple. We're a soda for everyone, for every single occasion, omni use case and omni channel.
Amazing. And in my opinion, it tastes very good.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Love what you guys are doing. I'm really excited to have you share some tips with our community on sending those sales emails. So, first, let's start off with when you're sending an email to a buyer, what are your top tips when you're sending that email? What would you recommend that these salespeople are doing in that email to make it kind of quick to the point?
Yeah, certainly. And I think to the point is probably one of the most important parts. In my close to a decade of experience in CPG, and I was previously a buyer as well, I was looking for quick and concise information. So while it's great to share like your history of how the company was founded and your backstory, it is you can get into that in a different time. And maybe that's in a sales deck at the bottom and on a one pager. But most importantly, it is first and foremost keeping it short. My favorite tip is bullet points. A buyer only has a few quick seconds to look at all your information and to make a decision on the spot. Think about how often, when you go into a grocery store or you're looking at a beverage section, what is catching your eye? How long are you spending, looking at products? If it's a very small, short period of time, try and put on your buyer hat and think about how long and how many emails that buyer gets.
That's great advice. And it sounds very similar to how you'd probably want to communicate with executives too. Keep it very high level. Bullet points are best. Don't want to give them all the details. You just want to give them what they need to know.
And I will mention, I mean, depending on who your buyer is, after you get a feel for them, you play it by ear and go on their comfortability level. If they like being more, less professional or more casual, then meet them on that same level. And the same way, I guess I would say, when I was job interviewing, you want to match how your job interviewer was receiving you.
How's the saying go? Dress for the job that you want, or
Something along
something
those
like that.
lines. Yeah, I won't pull up the quote right now, but yeah, I'll worry about it when I'm looking for a job after spade sells.
Nice.
Yeah.
In your opinion, when would you recommend starting that conversation with distribution companies?
Distribution is an interesting one. You always talk about the chicken and the egg, right? Like, can I get in my anchor account or should I get into the distribution first and then tell the retailer that I have this opportunity available? I say, why not do both? And for multiple reasons. One, you want to reach out to the retailer, let them know who you are. You also have to know that other companies, other brands that you're competing against are actively and probably doing it at the same time as well. And so the quicker that you get into that conversation, maybe before you're not going to necessarily get an activation on your first time and your first go around, but at least you're going to have some version of a rapport with your buyers. And if maybe your buyer changes, maybe a new buyer comes in from maybe a different retailer or a different department who you worked with previously. Everything is all about timing in the CPG world. And so I think the sooner that you get to that conversation, the better.
Speaking of timing, when you actually know that you're going to get on shelves, what is a good way to interact with your buyers to make sure that they are fully stocked and ready to go?
I think part of that is also talking with your distributor. When you're getting into retailer shelves, knowing your activation date, knowing your start date is probably one of the biggest things. But right next to that is making sure your distributor is stocked with enough product. You don't want to get into your retailer and either if you're doing a free fill or whatever you have worked out with your buyer, if your product performs really well and you're exceeding velocities as you had promised your buyer, you need to have that inventory backed up. So if it is a national broadliner, if it is a DSD, looping in everyone on the conversation, I think is always important.
That all sounds really good. And I would love to know if you had one big recommendation when it comes to sending that sales email, what would it be?
Bullet points are my bread and butter and my favorite thing. Too early on in my sales career after being a buyer, I wanted to share more about the brand that I was super passionate about. And bullet points force you to make everything short and concise. And if you see a full run on sentence, pages and pages of bullet points, it's a little unattractive to look at. And you yourself can self regulate. And it forces you to just stick to the most important and the most critical information. And I think you'll see a lot more of a response rate.
I like that you're touching on the most important and the most critical information. I'd love for everybody to get a look at an example email that you had sent previously. And if you wouldn't mind just kind of running us through why you shared this info with them.
This is the one that I actually sent to our buyers at United and Market Street. So Albertsons division, for some of those who aren't aware. And this is just what my intro email was. Um, the bullet points that you see are highlights about the brand, and you'll see in the body of the email, it's talking about what wave that we want to be considered for, the submission window, and again, just keep it really high level. When you get to your further along conversations, that's where you gauge talking with your buyers, your distributor reps, and everyone in between about how you want to continue conversations. But when you're sending that very first email, it's all about concise information and getting to the point.
Beautiful. As somebody who used to live in HubSpot, one of the tips that I learned from HubSpot too when I went through the HubSpot Academy was keep your emails to 150 words or less. And I think you nailed it there.
Yeah, I don't have the word count up there, but yeah, just get in all the information as quick as possible.
Very cool. Well, thank you very much for sharing this information with the community. If anybody has any questions or wants to get in touch with you, or maybe wants to learn a little bit more about Spade, how can they find you?
Yeah, certainly. So my email's open. Maybe after I say that, maybe might not be, but it's Caiden at drinkspade.com. So would love to share some info with you guys. I'm pretty active in our Slack community. I've got all the notifications on every single channel, so I try to respond and give my thoughts where I can.
Great. Thanks, Caden. This has been awesome. Really super helpful information. Thank you so much for your time.